Maximum Football just released some early in-game gameplay footage of the game. Keep in mind, this is very early gameplay. The game is due out later this year. They still have a lot of tweaking to do, a lot of stuff to add, a lot of polishing and stuff like that as well. But we also got a big update on the game today in terms of stuff they're doing for the game, when we can expect it out. They've also been releasing some other dev notes around the game and some screenshots we're going to look at as well. So a lot of info to cover today on this game. It is the only other simulation football game on the market that's going to be anything close to a Madden game. Now, keep in mind, this isn't a AAA studio. They are a AA studio, so they're not like an indie game per se, but they're not on the level money-wise as a studio like Madden or 2K. So don't expect something on that level. It's not really fair to them to put that on them. I know some people are hoping this is like the Madden killer. It's not really meant to be that. It's meant to be a good alternative, and judging by this early gameplay, so far, it looks solid. When you compare it to other games that have been on the market over the past few years, this gameplay is so far ahead of those games, like the old Maximum Football games, like Access Football, for example. This is actually the best gameplay outside of a Madden game that we've seen in a while. And I know some people say, well, Madden's gameplay isn't that great either, but again, when you're comparing indie games or AA studios versus AAA studios, you can see in just little things like the motion of the players and the way they move that when you have a lot more money, you can make things look more realistic. But I do think this game is going to be a very solid football game. It's going to be a nice alternative, especially when you consider all the other offline features and customization that they're adding. And within a few years, this game really could become something special if it gets the support. It's also free to play as well, which is a plus. So there's really no reason to not try it out. I think that's something that they're going to win a lot of people over with. The fact that it's free to play, and they're going to be updating it throughout the months. They're going to keep adding on to it as they develop new features and things for the game. Now with this, they also put out a big update today. It says, Maximum Football community, we can't express enough gratitude for the excitement and anticipation shown from you all for Maximum Football. Our ambition for this project from the start has been to create a free-to-play, physics-driven, customizable football experience within deep collegiate and pro atmospheres. To that end, the development team is working hard to deliver a new and exciting experience at the quality level that meets this ambition and lets you etch your own story in sports greatness. However, after much evaluation, the team has decided to move the Steam Early Access launch to fall of 2023. We share your passion for gaming, the sport of football, and we know this is the right decision for Maximum Football and its fans. Thank you for the patience in waiting a little bit longer to get on the field. Look for more in-depth information as we get closer to early access, and follow our social media channels and join our Discord for more updates. So the early access on Steam was supposed to come out in spring, which we're in now. We got about another month of spring before summer officially hits, but they're saying they're going to push that back to fall 2023, which really isn't some big delay. It's not like it's delayed a year. It's just a few months, but this is a new game that's coming out. They've built it from the ground up. It's completely different than the old Maximum Football, so it's going to take them a little time, and honestly, I don't think that's really a big issue. We want a good quality game, so if it's going to take them a little longer to get it out, that's fine. Because you can even see in the gameplay, if you look at some of the replies, you know, there's some people that are pushing back against a few things. Like this guy, for example, he says, why can no one get running right, for example? Because even in Madden, the running's kind of weird. And one of the lead guys for Maximum Football, Micah, says, we will. The first step was simply getting the massive amount of animations we needed recorded, processed, and hooked up into gameplay inside of our Unreal editor. We now have time to start polishing things in more detail. The running animations will look aggressive and violent soon. So again, this is early gameplay. This isn't what it's going to look like when it's released. They're just kind of giving you something, giving us something to sink our teeth into while we wait. Again, remember, they're on the Unreal Engine, which means the possibilities for the game are absolutely endless, which is why I say, you know, in the first year, it's going to be a solid game, it looks like. 3 years from now, who knows where they can take it. That's what's so exciting about this simulation game. It's the only one, I believe, on the Unreal Engine, so a lot of possibilities are there. Now, along with this announcement, they put out a series of tweets, kind of just answering most of the frequently asked questions right now about why the delay and what we can expect from the game. So obviously, the first bit of information people want to know is why the delay, and they said, even though we've been pleased with the progress of the development thus far, we feel that to deliver a title that meets or exceeds expectations, more time is needed for development. Another question they answered was, what is early access? Early access is a place where games are playable in an alpha or beta state while they are under continued development. Games in early access should be considered unfinished. The reason for early access is it allows gamers to play and provide feedback to help shape the game and its features. So this fall, when the early access hits Steam, it's going to pretty much be a beta version of the game, kind of like when Madden puts a beta out a couple months before release. We give feedback, they implement some of it they don't, and then the finished product comes out. So if the early access is coming out in fall 2023, that means the final version of the game that's going to hit consoles will probably be out around holiday season season of 2023 most likely, so maybe October, November, December. The next question was, why bring Maximum Football to Steam Early Access instead of releasing the full game? And they said, we believe that providing access to players in an early state allows us to gather crucial feedback from the community to build the best possible experience. They also answered the question of, is Maximum Football still coming to console? And they said, yes, you can still wishlist Maximum Football on PlayStation and Xbox right now. Another question was, when is the full launch on console? And they said, right now we're focused on releasing Maximum Football into early access, and we'll provide more information about the console versions in the coming months. Stay tuned to our social media, Steam, and to the console websites above for that information. So again, if early access is coming in early fall, probably expect the console around holiday season. Question, is gameplay still your focus? The answer was yes. Gameplay has always been our focus for Maximum Football. We have been polishing and tweaking our gameplay as seen with recent dev diaries and notes. We are incredibly passionate about getting it right and nailing a formula you'll enjoy. It's one of the prime reasons for the delay. We want to turn a few more screws before unleashing it into early access. Micah also put out a tweet recently that showed they were capturing some more animations for the game. They were actually doing it outside instead of in studio, which is a little bit different than what we're used to, but I don't really think it matters one way or the other. He said, recording a bunch of new animations for Maximum Football, hopping over downed players, dropping the ball after a play ends, punt and kick return catches, fair catch, kickoff, field goal, onside kicks, dive catches, idle stances, jogging and jogging transitions. So kind of like the little things that you might not always notice in a big way, but they kind of just tie the plays together, just how the plays end, how they begin, and things like that. All things that you do need in the game. And somebody actually asked him a question under this. He said, will there be multiple animations for each of them, variances and hopping over down players, dropping the ball, etc.? And Micah said, correct. We recorded a good amount of variation, hopping over players while running, jogging, and strafing. We recorded hops at multiple heights as well. These hops will be automatically triggered in game when appropriate, so the user will not need to press any buttons to trigger them, which is kind of normal for games. Even in Madden, like if a player's down, you don't have to manually hurdle over a guy laying down. You don't trip over him, at least not all the time. Sometimes you do, but usually they'll just auto kind of like hop over him and little things like that, or they'll drop the ball after the play. So again, these aren't things that you have to manually input. It's just kind of things that are supposed to be there. So it's good that they're capturing all these little things, because some of these older indie games, right, they didn't have this type of stuff, and that's those little things separate them from games like Madden, where you really notice a difference. These little things do matter. Now, the Maximum account also put out another tweet recently, another dev note on the offensive line and defensive line interaction, which is a big deal. We know in Madden this is still a lot of times a problem area for them. And they said here, the game can be won or lost in the trenches. In this week's dev note, we show some of the blocking mechanics we're implementing in Maximum Football. Power, momentum, weight, and strength all play into the equation every football game. Powerful rips, perfect time swims, and mad bull rush are key to success on the field. We keep this in mind while implementing mechanics and tuning. We are tuning pull blocks and turning defenders out, parting the seas next week. So again, kind of just some screenshots and a little bit of a note on what they're working on. It's good that they kind of keep us updated every week. They drop new screenshots, new dev notes, sometimes even like today, some gameplay footage. It's good that even though the game isn't out yet, they're constantly letting us know what they're working on. The communication's really good with them. They're very transparent about what they're currently doing, what's up next. If they delayed the game a little bit like they did today, they're telling you exactly why, but they're still actually showing you some other stuff to go along with it. We got some other little gameplay footage pieces I got up on the screen now that they were showing over these past couple of days. So all in all, I'm definitely excited for this game. I think obviously outside of Madden, this is going to be the best football game we've seen on the market in some years, because the last really good football game we had was probably NCAA 14, like outside of Madden, and that was over 10 years ago at this point. So this is going to be a really highly anticipated game. It's free to play, Unreal Engine. Obviously, again, this game is kind of a work in progress. They're going to keep updating it after they release it. They're not going to be releasing the yearly game, at least not as of right now. So 2 to 3 years down the line, this game really could turn into something really nice. And I think out of the gate, just judging by all the work they're putting in and what we've seen, it's going to be good. And this doesn't even take into account all the stuff they're doing for franchise mode. It's going to have college and pro style. It's going to have a ton of customization. So even though the game isn't going to launch with real teams and players, people can create them and share them. And the customization of the old Maximum Footballs was always good. This one, it looks like it's going to be even better from the little we know about it. So, I mean, I think this game is definitely going to be something to be reckoned with, especially down the line. And I'm definitely excited to get my hands on it. If you want to know more about kind of the offline features and other things that are coming with this game, you can check out this video right here on the screen.